Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the channel, and today I'm going to be showing you how to recreate Dominic Toretto's Mazda RX7 FD from the original Fast and Furious movie in GTA 5 Online. Now for today's build, the base car we're going to be using is of course the Annis ZR350, as it is of course based off of the Mazda RX7, and this video is going to be trying to show you a replica build for Dom's car pretty much as closely as possible as we can get it in GTA. Now if you do find this video helpful or enjoyable in any way, please do drop a like down below and consider subscribing for more. It would be greatly appreciated. And as well, if you have any more suggestions for other iconic car builds or kind of builds you want to see from me in the future, or any kind of content really, I'd love to hear your suggestions down below. Finally, if you're interested in GTA 5 car meets or the GTA car scene at all, I'd highly recommend joining my Discord server, which will be linked in the description. We do car meets pretty much daily, and we reckon you'd have a blast. But with all of that out of the way, let's get into it. But now let's get into the build itself. So here I'm mainly going to be focusing on the cosmetic upgrades for Dom's car. Of course you can go ahead and equip the same performance upgrades I will still show them, but the main point of this is to show you the cosmetic upgrades. So you know, your armor, your brakes, your engine, doesn't matter. Now for the front bumper, I'd recommend using the painted cutout bumper on this car, and then on the rear go ahead and use the stock rear bumper. These two are the closest to the ones that you can see on the Veilside Combat 2 body kit. Now for the engine block, I recommend just going ahead and leaving it nice and stock. And then for the air filters, I personally use the secondary performance air filter, or you can go ahead and use the primary turbo air intake system as well. It's up to you. For the strut brace, the Lighten Racing strut brace is pretty much a perfect match to the one we can see in Dom's car. And then for the intercooler, you can either use the stock one like I'm doing, or you can equip the custom one. It is really personal preference at that point. Now for the exhausts, I recommend you just go ahead and select the street exhaust. This is about as close as we can get to the one Dom's car had. And then moving on from now onto the fenders, the front fenders I'd leave stock, but the rear ones I'd use the primary rear fenders, so again we can go ahead and try and match up with that Veilside body kit the car had. The front fenders don't really line up too well with how the actual car did look if you go ahead and equip those, so that's why I leave it stock. For the headlights, I'd recommend just leaving them stock. We can't use the ones you know Dom's car featured, but for hoods and hood catches, we're going to leave both of these options stock as well. Moving on to the horn, that's irrelevant, but touching on the interior, we're going to go ahead and use the stock dashboard. We don't really need any of this race interior or anything. For the dials, I just leave them stock as is. None of these really line up to the interior of Dom's car. Doors, we'll go ahead and leave those stock. And then for the seats, I'd use the carbon track seats, which are pretty much a really good example of the Ricardo racing seats with the harness that the actual car had. And then the Rally Basic steering wheel is very close to the Veilside one in Dom's car. So I'd say that this is a pretty good decision, option. Moving on to the roll cage, again another optional choice. Dom's car did have a black roll cage in it, but of course if you don't want to include it because the color is a bit off or whatever, that's fine. I use the padded one though to get around that, but it's really personal preference. Now for the headlights, I'd recommend leaving it stock, but for the neon kit, you want to equip either the sides or front and sides option. Personally, I think the sides just works a little better, closer to how the car in the movie had it. And then you want to equip the neon color as red. Moving on to livery, you're going to want to equip the Winning is Winning livery. Unfortunately, this livery is locked behind the reputation level in the car meet of 129, so it is a bit of a grind, but it is absolutely worth it to make this build. It will take a little bit of time to get to, but hopefully people are towards this sort of level now anyway, because the car meet's been out for a little bit. But yeah, rep 129, you can unlock this. Banging livery, pretty much on point to the one that we could see in Dom's car from the film. Now for louvers, you want to equip none, and the mirrors, once again, you want to just leave stock as is. License plate, I recommend the blue on white too, as this is the closest to the California license plate. that Dom's car had in the film. And if you're interested about my custom plate, it's just the Furious, it says Furious on it, innit? Now, the color is Torino Red Classic for both primary and secondary, so I'd recommend you go ahead and equip that. You could go with a metallic, but I think classic is just a smoother look overall, pretty close to the one the actual car had. For the interior color, I just leave it black. The color that the actual car had was a bit of like a tan, but the in-game trim color only affects the seats and the padding, so just leave it black as is. The accent color really doesn't matter, so I've just left it on Shadow Silver, and of course we're not going to equip a crew emblem. We don't need any sort of roof scoop or anything, as Dom's car did not have one. And then to complete the Veilside body kit, you want to equip those extended side skirts. This is going to give us that nice rear bumper that's kind of flared out, and then as well we've got the side skirt coming along with that too, looking nice in that, you know, just kind of completing the look. Going over for the splitter, we're going to leave that stock, and the spoiler I'd recommend using is the carbon tuner spoiler. Now this one is a little high compared to the one Dom's car had, and another option of course would be the competition spoiler, which is even higher, but the carbon tuner spoiler just about does the job. I reckon it's a pretty good representation of it, so yeah, I'd use this one. Now moving on to the sun strip, I recommend just going ahead and leaving it stock. There's not really one that lines up to the one the car in the film had. It was incredibly small. You could use the plastic one, but that's up to you. And then for suspension, I personally used the competition suspension while having the interaction menu stance up to the top. Tail lights, just leave it stock as is. There's no need to change them. And then moving on to the transmission and the turbo, we just equip the maximum upgrade possible on both of these. Now, moving on to the wheels, this is probably going to be a little bit of a point of debate, but I would personally go ahead and recommend using the Extravaganza rims. In my opinion, these are the closest to the Veilside Andrew Racing rims. Of course, you do want to go ahead and make sure they are the chrome version. Another couple close contenders that you might prefer are the Supernova rims and the Sunrise rims. All three of these are in the SUV class under chrome, and really you can take your pick with any of those three and you'll do just fine. I don't think that there's anything particularly wrong with them. They're about as close as we can get in the game. We don't have any that are, you know, as similar. But yeah, let me know what you think about that down below. But moving on from there, I'd go ahead and say to use the stock tire design, tire enhancements just stock or bulletproof, white tire smoke, and finally for window tint, go ahead and take it on stock or light smoke. It is really your choice. But that is going to be the build in its entirety, so let me know what you think of that down below. I'd love to hear your opinions on it. Let me know what you thought of the build. Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? I'd love to hear any feedback you have down below. But thank you all very much for watching the video, and of course if you do have any more ideas for other iconic car builds you'd like to see in the future, do go ahead and comment those down below. But that's going to be all for today's video. Thank you all very much for watching. Leave a like and sub if you enjoyed, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.